more pages. I just thought about it last night. This one I want to cover up. I'm going to starting with the when we finish all the counter offer. So we're going to starting on the contingency on purchase. You know, I already give you the copy last week, and also the seller purchase and replacement property. That's I'll just give it to you. Oh, thank you for the coffee. Yeah. SSN for the one who better if you need it. Okay. I will email you the credit check authorization form shortly. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and start it on the contingency on purchase. You will see, you know, more on the listing they required on this form, or the form I just give it to you. Contingency for sale on buyer's property. This one. COP or SRLP. So we're going to cover this too first. Okay. Those are, you need to attach what that if your buyer need to sell their property, you gotta have to let the seller know, the COP. I know even this kinds of offer it kinds of weak, but you never know. Sometimes depending on your area you submit it to. If you submit it to, like, you know, Hacienda Rolling High, I know it's pretty weak offer. But if you submit those offer to like Ontario, Fontana on the east side, okay, because it's not that competitive on the market over there. Okay. So this is the addendum for, definitely, most likely it's a purchase, okay, agreement. So we attach this with the address, buyer and seller. Certainly, you know, we don't have to go through that. Paragraph 1, length of a contingency. Okay, the agreement is contingency on the close of escrow of buyer's property, described as whatever the address is. You know, the property they got to sell. For example, it's their own house they need to sell, put their house address. And that's a buyer's property. By the earliest of this schedule, close of escrow, seller property specified in the agreement. 2, the date specified in the paragraph 3 or other. So you put in the address over there. And buyer should, within 2 days after close of escrow of buyer's property, provide a document of close to seller. So basically, it's whatever their escrow close, the buyer on their own property, when they close, you need to show their document. Usually, if we submit the property like this, it's still within escrow. Sometimes, like down payment, you want to show proof of fund. Where's the money? Yeah. Estimate closing. Estimate closing. You just practice right now. This is it. Estimate closing. You gotta need it to show the seller this is the money coming from. If you are, you know, have another escrow in the just like I have the like one of a current escrow, I have same thing. My buyer selling their property and purchase another property. So before I submit the offer, I grab they paying all cash, that's fine. But I grab the closing. I submit this, and I also grab the estimate closing. Give everything to the listing agent. So listing agent will call the buyer's escrow to verify when they actually close. If it's not closing, they need to verify the date when it's closing date. Because the sheet they show is estimate closing. But as a listing agent, it's their job to call again to verify. And B, continuous of contingency. This contingency can only be removed in writing, even if buyer remove this contingency unless buyer also perform all action pursuing the paragraph 8. So we'll follow that. Seller retain the right to cancel under paragraph 5. Once buyer property closed, buyer can no longer use this contingency to cancel the agreement. I know here it's a little bit confusing. Let's see, jump to number 8 first. Number 8 is backup offer and sell the right to have buyer remove contingency or cancel. What's that supposed to mean? I'll tell you the summary after I finish this. Let's jump to paragraph 8 first. After the acceptance, the seller should have the right to continue to offer seller's property for sale for backup offers. That's fair. Just like all the escrow. Once you open escrow, do you submit backup offer? Yes, I do. I just submit another backup offer. Why not? I figure if I got 20% of chance, never know. 2, wait, backup offer. Okay. And if the seller accept a written backup offer and provide a buyer a copy of a signed acceptance backup offer. If the seller do accept the written backup offer, then you provide a buyer a copy of signed backup offer. Say, you tell the original buyer, this is a backup offer. I'm going to accept. Okay? So if you cancel, you don't get a chance to get it back. And also, number 8, immediately right to notify buyer to remove sales and property contingency. Oh, that's under pressure now. What's that supposed to mean? Seller should have the right to immediate give written notice to buyer to in writing. 1, remove this contingency. Usually contingency could be 17 days on the buyers, selling their property. Suddenly, your contingency seller wants you to remove. Either you remove or you cancel. Your 17 days suddenly is gone. That's a seller's right. Remove the loan contingency, if any, or 3, provide a verification of a sufficient fund to close of escrow without the sale of buyer's property. Now, they were asking the original buyer, do you have extra money to close? If you don't, tough luck. I'm so sorry. Because seller is no longer want to wait for you. So that's why when we submit the offer on those competitive market, your chance getting accepted is weak, it's low. Why? It's because even seller accepting your offer, and they can still cancel you. No, before. For example, if I am the seller, listing agent, you submit the contingency on purchase, okay, on the buyers, selling the property. 2 days later, I receive a offer. And seller, doesn't matter better or worse. Seller say, I'd rather sell this one, no contingency on the purchase. So if the seller will accept this one, then I show the backup offer signed by the seller. I email to the original buyer. The one on the backup offer buyer. I send that to, original buyer. Tell them I'm not BS. I didn't bullshit. Okay. The seller do accepting the backup offer. Then your 17 days salary become what? Nothing. So either you remove the contingency now, show me the sufficient fund, you can continue. Otherwise, you cancel or I cancel you, either way. That's what it meaning. So that's how that happened. Even the seller accepting your offer and they can still cancel you. You don't have a 17 days. Yeah. So those are, and who provide this form to the seller? buyer. Buyer's agent, that means buyer, you got to understand. Buyer's agent, you got to know. Before you submit this offer, submit this form, you got to have to go through with your own buyer. If the buyer failed to complete this action within 3 days after delivering such notice, seller may then immediately cancel the agreement in writing. So that means I give you the backup offer. I'll tell you remove contingency. Suddenly you don't have a 17-day. You only have 3 days. If you don't perform, that means you don't perform. You don't remove your contingency on the buyer's, purchase, selling the property. Seller can cancel. See that? Yes. Seller is not stupid if he got no offer and cancel you. Come on, seller is like, then why are you accepting the offer to begin with, right? If you accept those buyer, they are contingency on selling their property, COP, then that means you have to understand your consequence. If they did not close their escrow and your transaction is, no sold. And same thing, when seller accepting the backup offer and they can cancel, I don't want to wait for you. I want to go for the other one because you got no contingency. So if you really submit those type of offer, you better submit it better, to it's not so competitive area, so you got better chance. And B, if you check delay right to notify buyer, seller should not invoke the notice. I'm so sorry. Seller should not invoke the notice provision in paragraph AA. 1, within the first 17 days after acceptance, or 2, during the term of this agreement. So you want the seller to delay notify the buyer. So that means you could though. Buyer, if you mark this, that means you have 17 days. Because you tell the seller, okay, delay no right to notify buyer, seller should not invoke the notice provision for paragraph AA. You cannot cancel me on the first 17 days. See if you accept it or not. Even you have a backup offer. Give me a 17-day, no matter what. So at your situation, if you really want 17 days, better you check right here. Don't forget. If you can forget to check on it, yeah. So you got to understand this form, how that works. Okay? Then if you check, or during the term of agreement, that's even worse. What's that during the term of agreement? Until close of escrow. Until buyer closing their escrow. That's not just 17 days. That's going to be the whole, during the term of the agreement. What's agreement? This agreement. This agreement is what? A buyer's selling their property. So buyers selling their property, that means they have to sell, they have to close an escrow. That means selling it. Yeah. Do we still got an extra copy? Okay, I got it. Okay, good. That's just adding for 2 more. Okay. We're going to cover that. But the COP, that's, I didn't give it to you guys last week. So this is a paragraph A. Clear? Okay. Because I know a little bit confusing, back and forth between the A and B. If you mark it B, that means you are dismissed. Paragraph A8. That's right. Seller may come to you back, for this. Could be. Yeah, very possible. You're absolutely right. So you gotta have to tell your buyer, a lot of situation may happen. It's not gonna be like your way, or if the listing agent oversee, you forgot it. That's why, every time when we receive the offer as a listing agent, we highlighted what is an important item, and I read 3 times on the offer before I present it to seller, because I don't want to make a mistake either. I don't want to oversight. Okay, any little check mark, it's gonna cost me money. Maybe stove, maybe refrigerator, or anything, termites, this. Not a little check mark will kill you. Be careful when you are the listing agent, you read through everything. If you could, read 3 times, just in case, you miss it. And try not to read the offer before you sleep at night, all right? Believe me, you'll make a mistake. you said, you forgot to look at something. When you wake up in the morning, oh, good thing I read it again in the morning. I said, forget it. I'm not going to read any contract. Well, just like, we don't, you don't want to count the money or anything, before you sleep either. So this is paragraph 8 and paragraph 5. Let's go back on this, when we mentioned that. Okay, seller right to cancel. Because this actually is between, usually seller doesn't have a right to cancel, but if you submit a COP, then end up seller do have a right to cancel. Seller may cancel this agreement in writing as follows. After first giving the buyer notice buyer to perform, is providing the document of a close of a buyer's property. If a buyer's property does not close escrow by the time specified in paragraph 1, you are actually paragraph 1, and what you need to notify them and say when it's going to be closing. Or, estimate closing, you give it to them, and both you got to communicate between buyer's agent, listing agent, okay? B, after first given to the buyers a notice buyer to perform, if the buyer failed to provide an escrow evidence within the time specified in paragraph 2B or 3B, yeah, definitely you need to get in the estimate closing. If you don't give it to them, they're not going to accept the offer. I can tell you that. If you just submit this form without submitting the estimate closing, they will definitely ask you provide the estimate closing before they're signing your purchase agreement. Even right here, they will say, okay, well, I'll give you a couple of days. You give me 2B or 3B. Yeah, that's part of the deal. Then C, if the buyer given notice to seller of either party cancellation of a contract for buyer's property. What's that supposed to mean? Buyer give the seller cancellation. That means buyer's escrow having in trouble. Then you better cancel first. Don't continue because it's going to be more risk. The longer you continue, the more money you need to involve. Inspection, appraisal, if you're financing, right? Then end up, if the buyer's escrow did not close, you got to have to close your current escrow with the seller. Yeah.
The buyer wants to purchase the property, but they don't have enough money, so they need to sell their own the property first, and then use this money to buy the new one. So it's actually a 2 transaction or 1 transaction.
Two transaction, 2 escrow.
2 escrow, not the one escrow.
Buyer, I don't have the money. I need to sell my own house before I can buy the new house. So that's why we're using this form. Okay? It just that's a contingency upon I need to sell my own home. If I did not sell my house, do I have the money to buy the next one? No way.
So the seller will accept this one, so the seller has to wait.
The buyers closing their home escrow first before they closing the next one.
So the next one is not open.
No, it's open. It's open. So that's why I have a backup offer. It has to be open.
So what the seller accept this form is the second transaction.
Second transaction, open escrow, yes. So that's why when we talk about close concurrently, see how many agent remark? Sometimes it's a seller. I'm going to talk about that later. Same thing. Seller need to finding the replacement property, so it close concurrently. That is also 2 escrow. This is a buyer need to sell the property, their own house, before they can buy the next one. So 2 different forms. You just have to know how to use it. Okay? You just don't send in the purchase agreement, and when you just send a purchase agreement, listing agent assuming you don't have any contingency. Oh, no, no, no. I need to, buyer need to sell the home. Oh, well, where's your COP? Where's your estimate closing? Where's your document? Because you gotta show proof of fund, right? If you submit the regular purchase agreement, you need to show the proof of fund. Where's your money? Show me the money. Right? That's all we, as a listing agent, that's why we need to see it. Pre-qualified letter, proof of fund, before we can accept the offer. Yeah, it's not like a good old day. Okay, when the offer comes in, we accept it. You worry about a down payment later or your finance later because they cannot finance it. Okay, as long as you're mentally healthy, you can finance. That easy. Okay, used to be, that's how we do it. Mentally healthy, and we can borrow 125% of the purchase price. That's a good old day. No wonder financial crisis happened. 125%, not 100% loan. It's 125% loan. And C, okay, we got D. If the buyer, after being given a notice, remove contingency and fail to remove the contingency specified in AA on the bottom. When they have a backup offer, they accept it. I'll show you. Okay, I'll give you 3 days. Then 3 days later, you still didn't react and remove the contingency. Okay, then seller have the right to cancel. So what contingency you gotta remove? I'm gonna show you the CR later. One of the contingency is buyers remove the contingency. Just, actually you separate to escrow. That's a contingency, make it simple. Now it's actually binding. Originally, when you submit offer, they try to binding everything together. But the contingency you want to remove, the buyer say, doesn't matter. If you buyers remove that contingency, doesn't matter you sell your property or not. You have enough money to buy my house to the sellers. Second escrow. So you separate two escrow. So it no longer connected. That is if you the buyer remove contingency. But if you if that's a case, if I'm the buyer's agent, they say, then why I submit the offer for COP? Since you have money, right? Since buyer you have money, you buy it first, then you sell it later. Why cause so much trouble, right? So simple as that. I just try to make it simplify. I don't want to make it complicated. This one is more complicated. But if that makes sense, if you have a money, if I remove contingency, that means you gotta have a money to buy, extra money to buy. Then why bother? You submit, tell the seller you gotta have to sell your property. You just buy theirs first. You sell yours later, or you sell it at the same time, separate to escrow. Then your offer it becomes stronger. Suddenly becomes stronger because you don't have contingency on selling your property. And that's something you need to educate the buyer. If the buyer do have extra money to purchase, even they are saying, oh, but I like to purchase all cash. What is so big deal about all cash? If you can finance it, if you have down payment, you can finance buying the house first. After you sell your home, you can pay it off. Can you? Oh, but I don't want to pay the loan fee. Oh, okay. Now we know what's wrong. Because the loan fee is not cheap. Okay. That is a story. Okay, now I understand. That's the only situation. Okay. Then we're using this. I want to pay cash. I don't want to pay loan fee. Even I can financing. Been there, done that. So that's why. Okay, we'll continue on the paragraph number 2. We'll jump back to number 2. Okay. If you mark it here, buyer's property not in escrow. Oh, that's even worse. What's that telling you? Buyer's property is not in escrow, and check box as the applicant. Is A or is not yet listed for sale. Oh man, that's even worse. You're not listed yet. I say, buyer, did you ever sign a listing agreement? My buyer's agent. If you are you become your buyer's listing agent, did you ever sign a listing agreement? Yeah, So if I see this, forget it. I'm not going to accept anything. Okay, the only thing if I'm the listing agent, I'll tell you what I'm going to accept. Israel is not yet listing for sale. If listed, listing broker is who? May not be you. You never know. Some of us, if like, say like Victorville, I don't want to go over there. You find an agent over there. I don't want to list it, in Victorville. Or Palmdale, California City. Do you know where the California City is? No idea? Palmdale? Heard about it? Do you know where is it? Okay. Lancaster. Okay, close that. If you go down the 5 freeway, here's Lancaster, go all the way to Magic Mountain. You guys go Magic Mountain? I still love to go if I have a chance. Still love roller coaster. Lancaster, there you go on the east. That's a Palmdale. Where's the California City? Further into the mountain. And where they connected to? The 15 freeway in halfway to the Las Vegas, on Barstow area. You connected. You're on the sideway, on the 40 freeway, on that to the Barstow area. You get on the 58 highway, then you connected. If you go heading west, you just see California City. Oh, sounds great. That city, it gotta be great. Yeah, middle of nowhere. How come I know? Because one time I do appraisal. Oh man, what the heck is California City? Man, that whole day, when me and my wife, we did a whole appraisal for 9 cases. We run up a whole tank of gas, 400 miles. I mean, literally, we go around it. Yeah. When I'm coming back at 15. Yeah, I go, from Victorville, Lancaster, Palmdale, California City, and coming back home. Full tank of gas, gone. And that's, I even drive the small car, so it's still pushed to 400 miles. Yeah. And that's a really booming town. Well, certainly got more people live there now. That's for sure. Yeah, when I'm talking about probably about almost 20 years ago. And B, buyer has 17 days to enter into the escrow for sale of buyer's property. Buyer should, with the time specified, and provide the seller with copy of a contract, escrow instruction, all related document, escrow evidence showing the buyer property has entering the escrow. So that means if you just entering the escrow, you submit this form, COP, then you are you don't have to mark anything on A, because that is pretty bad. Either you are on listing or you are not on listing yet. B, that means at least open escrow, feel more comfortable. Then 3A, the 3, if you check buyer's property in escrow, buyer property in escrow, and escrow scheduled closing, if you know closing. Because on 2B, it's just entering the escrow for sale at buyer's property. Those are just when you just entering the escrow. You have 17 days. Just open escrow. 3, it's going halfway. You know when it's closing already. So you put in a date. Okay? When it's halfway on the escrow, you mark paragraph 3. You know the closing date. Who's the escrow holder? That's the escrow company's name and the escrow number. You put everything in. And buyer should, within 5 days after acceptance, deliver the seller escrow evidence of buyer's property is in escrow. That's what? Estimate closing. When you just open escrow, you don't get estimate closing. A lot of uncertainty. I don't know how much you pay off, that, all the paperwork. You don't know yet until you go through about almost halfway. So when I see somebody mark paragraph 3, I feel more comfortable, because most likely it's getting close to remove the contingency, buyer's buyer. When buyer selling the property, buyer's buyer, they're about to remove their contingency. When I see somebody submit the form on paragraph 3, if it check, that's the time I will consider accepting this offer. When it's this paragraph 3 check. 2, no. Too early, too risky. I don't want it. I tell them, why don't you stay put? I'll continue market. If it is the only offer, I'll put aside first. If I can accepting other offer without contingency, why I should accept the offer with the COP? Right? Because I'm the listing agent. What's my main interest, main concern is seller's best interest. Well, unless seller want to accept it, then fine. I can tell the seller what's the consequence. Mainly is as a listing agent, is a seller listen to you or not? Just like if you're the buyer's agent, is your buyer listen to you or not? If you're an uncontrollable client, it can be very tough situation may happen later on. If you cannot control your client, worst come worst, I may drop it to begin with. If I know if I cannot control it, I'm not suitable for everybody. There's no way. We all have your own edge, your niche to attract a different buyer or seller. So do I. I cannot please everybody, isn't it? There's no way. Yeah. Some of a client, they're afraid of me. I don't know why. But sometimes I say, am I looking like, that's why. Oh, because sometimes I'm helping my coworkers, a client, and they don't want to talk to me. I ask them later on, our coworker asks them, why? I say, oh, your partner, it looks, unfriendly. Huh? Me? And he looks like, from from the Yakuza, yeah. It's from the mafia. I said, huh? Am I looking? Yeah. I know. People may think about that way. Yeah, I understand. So they're afraid to talk to me. Mm. They say, well, even they are men. I said, man to man, why do you be afraid? I said, no, the way he talked, the way he walked, I don't, you know. It's just like, then there's like, they say, I said, okay, I'm so sorry. I have impression to that. Well, some people likes it. It's okay. And I cannot please everybody. So unfortunately. So that's why it's okay. I try to earn as much as a business I could, but I cannot earn everything. So some people may not like me because I really straightforward. The American way. It's straightforward. It may not sugarcoating and it hurt. It hurt when listened by someone else. Oh boy, that sounds awful. That's hurt. I said, oh, okay, I'm too straightforward, huh? Okay. So that's a paragraph 3. Paragraph 4, cancellation of a buyer's property. If a buyer's property is in or enter the escrow and either party to that escrow give notice to the other cancel that contract buyer within 2 days, transferring. Therefore, thereafter shall give the seller written notice of that cancellation. Can buyer cancel? Yeah, absolutely. Because if the buyer's escrow has a problem, you cancel the escrow right away because you cannot continue, especially you don't have money to purchase. Then if you can, after the contingency period, they can forfeit your deposit and you still cannot closing. They'll be in trouble. We covered the number 5. Let's jump to number 6. Buyer's right to cancel. Buyer may cancel this agreement in writing prior to buyer's remove of the contingency for sale of a buyer's property. Buyer's property does not close escrow by the time specified in paragraph 1. Yeah. 2. The buyer of a buyer's property give notice to buyer of intent to cancel the escrow for buyer's property. I mean, big deal. Buyers have a 17-day. Even any buyer, they can cancel the escrow, even without those contingency. Anything they can cancel. You don't have to provide any reason within 17 days on the contingency period. So if the seller asks you, what's the reason? Oh, my buyer, huh? Yeah, exercise of 14B. What do you mean exercise 14B? If you look at the purchase agreement, that's a 17-day contingency. When you put on the cancellation, they will actually you see the cancellation, you'll see that it's the exercise paragraph 1. Now, always we put 14B, 14 paragraph 14B, boy, that is contingency period 17 days. Yeah, on the purchase. I'm going to cover that on the cancellation, so it's okay. I know you might say, where's that? Yeah, but buyer can cancel anytime, anyway, because we are in California, and the California law is protecting the buyer. Technically, it is. Yeah, consumer. You say that buyer is a consumer. Somebody, if the seller pisses off the buyer, why they cancel? I say, usually I will ask the seller, did you ever return anything in Costco, Target, or Walmart? Did you? I think all of us. Why you can return it? It's because consumer law. Then, why are you so pissed with the buyer cancel? What's wrong with that? Do you think Target will piss on you? Walmart or Target or Costco piss on you? No. Did you ever see that when they return it? One time I see the whole salsa is only to the bottom. Oh, I don't like it. I return it. You don't like it? You only got the bottom, huh? I just keep trying. I don't like it until the end. I still don't like it. So I want to return it, right? That's the reason, right? Yeah, Costco accepted. Hey, that's awful. But I saw it. The people in front of me say, why you, to me, I say, why you bring the empty jar for? That's to me, it's like, why you bring the empty jar for returning for? Oh, I don't like it. I don't like the bottom. So, that's a consumer law. Then, same thing. Then, seller, you have no way to piss the buyer if they cancel it. Return the deposit. Okay? Otherwise, the consequence, it could be heavy if this buyer taking action to suing the buyer, a seller not returning, not refundable their security deposit, initial deposit. Okay, I know even by law, the our purchase agreement say 10 days escrow have to return the deposit to the buyer. But believe me, more than half of escrow, they are afraid to do that. Yeah, they rather see the seller signing the cancellation before they release the fund. That was a good old day. And a lot of escrow, they still practice that. Not much we can do. Even they know the purchase agreement have that clause. They still doesn't want to release the fund to the buyer, until seller signs a cancellation. Especially if the seller, those are divorced couple. Or that's even worse. One sign, one doesn't want to sign it. Oh, can I cancel? Yeah. Paragraph 7. The time period in the agreement for the inspection, contingency, covenant, close of escrow, and other obligation shall begin as specified in the agreement. On the day after buyer deliver to the seller any of the following. Okay, escrow evidence for buyer property, or B, or 2, buyer election in writing, signed by the buyer to begin time period, or 3, buyer remove of the contingency for sale of the buyer's property. I know it's a little confusing, right? Okay. The time period is an agreement. Okay, those are inspection, contingency, covenant, That's a what? Regular 17-day contingency anyway. Okay, those are the time period. We usually at the purchase agreement already have that. So we know on the first half. And the one on the day after the buyer deliver the seller any of the following. What's that telling me? If you open escrow, you check mark. That means I didn't give the evidence, or like the escrow evidence for the buyer's property or the buyer's election. Just basically, you did not give the seller estimate closing. You give the estimate closing later. So the contingency period that they want do not start until the buyer deliver the evidence of escrow. That's an estimate closing. Then that's starting day 1, next day. So buy them few more days. If you check this, the 17th day did not start it right after they accept your offer. They delay until they give it a estimate closing, or signing the time period, or maybe remove the contingency for the sale of the property, buyer's property. That's even later. I mean, I make sure I can sell this property, then I gotta remove contingency, and my contingency 17 days started. Woo! Believe me, seller will not wait. I don't even accept your offer if you don't show me the evidence of the closing, the evidence, escrow evidence for buyer's property. If you don't show me that, I won't accept your offer. So basically, as a listing agent, even this clause is right here. But in the reality, when we practice, show me the estimate closing before I accept your offer. Then your contingency period actually is still the same. So theoretically, you can do that, but in reality, no. we don't really doing that. We don't wait. B, buyer's deposit. Buyer deposit should be delivered to the escrow within the time specified in the agreement, within 3 business days after the buyer delivered the seller any of the following. No way, I'm not gonna wait. See, as you say, without the deliver the initial deposit, do they really consider open escrow? Not really. So your question is like this, when you ask a previous question, if the buyer did not deliver the initial deposit, they say, well, if the check mark right here, within 3 days after buyer delivered the seller any of the following, estimate closing, you got to deliver. Then then 3 days I turn in the initial deposit. That means they had to wait. Or the buyers elected to writing the sign by the buyer to begin time period, or 3, buyer remove of this contingency for the sale of the buyer's property. After the worst is like, after I remove the contingency, then I starting the escrow, I turn in the deposit. Sounds like that. As a listing agent, in reality, we're not going to wait. We are not going to, open the escrow and without the initial deposit and sitting there. No. Yeah. So that's in theoretically, yes, you can do that. But as a listing agent, if you know this clause, you put away on this deal first, this offer first, because they ask too much. If you're on paragraph 7, you mark this, and you also mark this, forget it. I put this offer aside first. I tell the buyer's agent, it's not fair to the seller. Isn't it? Yeah. You tell seller, wait everything until you remove contingency, then you're starting our escrow. How long I'm going to waste it? Could be easily 3 weeks. Who knows? You may cancel. Then, well, too bad, seller, right? You're just wasting 3 weeks without, you cannot accepting anything. If they mark it even, for the backup offer, if they even mark delay, right to notify buyer, that's even worse. When you see more check mark, that's a worse. So at this form, if you keep it clean, just fill it in. The only thing I want to see is number 3, fill in the escrow and the escrow company's name, and that's it. No more check mark. That's if I'm the listing agent. Rest of it, check mark, there. No. Because those are higher risk. Let me remove the bar on the bottom here. Okay. Okay. Clear? Okay. So when buyer sign it, seller accepted this offer, for example, then notice remove contingency. This is at the end, okay? Seller hereby given a notice to the buyer to remove the contingency and take the action specified in paragraph AA. not to be delivered until the time specified in A or B. So that means if
seller accepting the backup offer,
and the
then they only tell the buyer, say, you got to remove
contingency, okay, that is a seller sign it. That means
it's more like a notice buyer to perform.
buyer sign it, seller sign. But after you accept the backup offer, the seller sign again and date it. If you deliver to the buyer, then that's a confirmation of receipt. Same thing. Bold print here. Completion of this confirmation is not legally required. It is solely intended to evidence of a date that confirmed and received
has occurred.
So if the
Seller sign it, that's become a notice buyer to perform. I only give you 3 days to remove the your buyer's contingency on the purchase, on selling your property. After that, I'm going to send you the cancellation.
So this, once it's signed,
It's more like a notice buyer to perform. Be careful. It's not you still waiting for the notice buyer to perform. No,
this is considered
AA. Because
the AA. When you're exercising AA, that's immediate right to notify buyer to remove the sales property
contingency. Clear? I know I don't know how often you guys using it. I know it's not too often, but it's good to know because half of a listing, if you see on the market, they, or buyer, they may have to sell their own property before they can buy. We don't have too many rich people, too many cash buyer, isn't it? Out there. So we have to deal with those mediocre finance people. You gotta, it's out, we're the service job. We're supposed to service all kinds of buyer, right? Technically. Yeah.
But unfortunately, sometimes I only have 5% down. Ooh. Those buyers, I mean, it's tough to deal with that. I can tell you that. Yeah. But some agent, they really, I really, I have to say, they are great. They put all their effort. I cannot even like that. With the 3%, 5% down people, they show them around, submit the offer with FHA loan. They know they are not going to accept that and continue and continue and continue. That I consider work hard, not really work smart, because your time is valuable. They never thought about it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll finish this form. So we'll go to the SPRP, seller finding the replacement property. This is a COP. Okay, contingency on purchase. Because more people, they are asked me on this seller purchase a replacement property. So I think I better cover that this time. Top portion, pretty straightforward. That's starting in the paragraph 1. Finding a replacement property, the agreement is contingency on seller entering into the contract to acquire the replacement property. Finding replacement property contingency. Seller shall, within 17 days after the acceptance, remove the finding replacement property contingency or cancel this agreement if the seller does not remove the finding replacement property. Contingency in writing with that time. Buyer, after first given a notice of a seller to perform, may cancel the agreement in writing. So the role is changed. Seller need to finding the replacement property before they can sell their property. The one we look at as a buyer need to sell their own home before they can buy the seller's property. This one is the buyer want to buy the seller's property, but seller need to buy another one before they can sell their own home. But is it possible 2 of them together? Oh yeah, that's a worse scenario. Buyer need to sell their home, seller need to find a replacement property. You combine all of them together, how many escrow?
Well, technically it's three. Buyer need to sell the property, one. Buyer and seller, one. Seller need to finding the replacement property, another one. 3 escrow. Combining together. That's pretty bad. That's okay. I deal with 4 before. Buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling. You know, actually 5 escrow, 4 chain binding together, because 5, right? You have 4 chain in between. Yeah. This is 3 escrow, 2 chain binding. They have to sell this property to get the replacement property. So you want to buy the seller's property. So that means your money has to into the seller's escrow first. Close it. So that escrow wire the money to the other escrow. So I deal with the worst scenario. What I have before is a 5 escrow, 4 chain, escrow after escrow after escrow. You know, the money keep on wiring between the escrow. Yeah. So we close it consecutive day. 5 different day. Whole week. This one closing, the next one closing. Next one closing, next one closing. One is not closing, the rest is gone. Luckily, all 5 escrow close. Well, I'm the middle one, and certainly rely on so many listing agent and buyer's agent. We have to work together. I'm the third one, the most tough one, because 2 are in the front, it's not closing. The other 2 are behind me. Yeah. So this is the seller have a 17-day to finding the replacement property. So that means seller can still cancel buyer's agreement. So it doesn't matter on COP or SPRP. That means seller all reserve the cancellation right. Did you notice that? Seller all have a cancellation right. Regular purchase, seller doesn't have a cancellation right until 17 days if the buyers did not perform. But this, seller, they all have a cancellation right. B, seller has entered into the contract to acquire the replacement property escrow holder. So becomes seller need to disclose a buyer, their escrow and the escrow number, if you mark there. So that means seller's property already went into the escrow and waiting for the buyer's property for sale. So if that's a situation, it's more protection to the buyer because seller is already in escrow. And seller with maybe longer escrow, waiting for a buyer to enter the escrow, maybe 30 days, then seller's escrow, since it's already open, there could be 45-day escrow or even longer. Okay, because they need to wait the buyer's escrow close, then they can close. Otherwise, they cannot close. C, if a check close a replacement property, the agreement is contingency on seller's ability to close escrow on replacement property according to that contract. What's that telling you? Seller has money. If I don't close mine, I can still sell it. So seller has money to purchase the next property, if you mark here. Yeah. So that's a scenario. Seller to have extra cash as a down payment, or they can pay all cash to buying their replacement property without selling their own home. Then why they put the contingency for? Right? That's the same question will happen again on COP. Why make it so complicated? You mark here. And 2A, time period. Time period is the agreement, inspection, contingency, covenant, close of escrow, and other obligation to comment of the date of acceptance shall begin the day after the seller delivered to the buyer a written notice removing, finding replacement property. Contingency specified in paragraph 1A. So this is the same thing like a COP. Okay, we all have a contingency period, everything. Okay, here's a finding replacement property. So basically, they are their contingency started because they are starting on their own, on the seller, on the replacement property, they will start their own contingency, the next escrow. And also, if you mark here, remaining specified in the agreement, if the close of escrow
is identified as specified date in the agreement, it shall remain on the date.
So I mean, if you set the particular date, so basically seller have more contingency period if you check mark right here.
So that means if the remaining specified in the agreement,
What's that supposed to mean? Seller did not cancel, remove their seller contingency, and this agreement continue. That means seller still reserve the cancellation right more than 17 days.
if you check right here.
So usually when you see more check mark,
It's not good on the form. Right. B, buyer's deposit. Buyer's deposit shall be delivered to the escrow within 3 days after acceptance, delivered to the buyer. A written notice removing the finding replacement property contingency as specified in paragraph 1A or as specified in this agreement. That means
buyer's deposit has still need to get into the escrow. Buyer cannot say wait until, hey seller, you wait until you closing, then I deliver the deposit. No way. Seller said, I need your money. You have to close first before I can buy it. How can I wait for you, right?
so if you mark it this one, you know, if you mark it as specified in
This agreement, I mean, buyer wait, no.
seller will not accept it because with same thing on
Regular escrow, buyer need to deliver deposit once the seller accepting the buyer's offer. Because seller need buyer's money before they can closing their own house, the replacement property.
C, close of escrow. Buyer and seller agree that seller may extend the close of escrow date for the sale of the seller's property maximum of
Whatever additional day, it's up to the seller. Sometimes the seller could put 1 week, 1 month, or even longer. So that means seller already warning the buyer, look, we may not close concurrently. Why? For some reason, anything could happen, just in case. My escrow delay, seller's escrow delay, not between buyers and seller. Seller, the other side, their purchase, replacement property delay. So then I have to delay the escrow. That means they kind of telling the buyer, you cannot move in first. I have to stay. Okay, you close it, fine. But I have to do addition. But when seller live inside, then we have to get in more trouble. It's like
seller in possession. Is seller going to be paying the rent? Right?
So if that's marked, you know, additional escrow date, so it may create more paperwork. More scenario may happen because seller in possession. We might have to, you know, fill in the form.
And also until
or whatever particular day. I mean, that's a calendar day.
By providing the buyer with written notice at the time of a seller remove the finding replacement property contingency specified in paragraph 1A. Okay, so this part, so the until the seller remove the finding replacement, if they do not remove,
then this agreement continue, not just 17 days, until the seller remove their contingency.
Seller finding replacement property contingency, or other term. Even after expiration date time of the finding replacement property contingency specified in paragraph 1A, seller retain the right to remove the finding replacement property contingency or cancel this agreement until buyer cancel pursuing to the paragraph 1A. Once buyer receives the seller's written remove of a finding replacement property contingency, buyer may not cancel pursuing the paragraph 1A.
That means buyer cannot cancel 1A, finding the replacement property.
Once the buyer receives the seller written, if the
seller, I already remove my finding replacement property contingency, then buyer, you cannot cancel me.
Not using this clause.
So buyer can using what clause? 17-day regular contingency. I don't like that property. Can you cancel? Yeah. If still within 17 days. So usually if this 17-day plus a seller 17-day, pretty much, you know, they all remove the contingency each other because we'll send a notice buyer to perform and then notice seller to perform on both parties.
Okay. The worst thing is the time period. Is this. Sellers only, have 17 days. But if they mark it right here, remaining as specified in the agreement if close of escrow is identified as specified date in the agreement and should remain on that date. What's that telling you? Sellers replacement property contingency continue until close of escrow. Who close of escrow? Buyer's close of escrow. If they mark it right here. So finding the replacement property is one. But how about close of escrow? Finding, that's one thing. Closing, that's the other thing. So if they mark it here, that means seller can still continue, they can still cancel you as a buyer, even you about to fund it. They can still cancel you at the last minute if they think they cannot close of escrow. So that's why when you see more check mark, it's not good for you. Okay? Because, when they signing this, by signing below, buyer and seller acknowledge that they have read and understand the same thing. Okay? So that if they mark it there, a lot of people, they think, okay, if I remove the contingency on notice seller to perform, usually what's that? You remove the contingency on finding the replacement property. Finding, 17 days. Finding is different than closing. Finding is one thing. I found it. I open escrow. But can I close it? That's the whole thing. So if they mark there, if they check mark remaining to specify in the agreement, that's mean this SPRP. If a close of escrow is identified as a specified date of this agreement, what date? Well, certainly, the closing date, or whatever the date may be, because you may have to extend the escrow. But most likely, they will cancel you if they found the buyer has a finance situation and they cannot move. Even they already, they remove the 17-day finding the replacement property, but I cannot close the escrow according to this. They can still cancel. You're right. In the other way, yes. Okay? So when you deal with, doesn't matter COP or SPRP, be careful. Little check mark will kill you. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, the little check mark will kill you. I said, because buyer may blame me. How come you never let me know? Even the last moment, and seller can still cancel me. Little check mark. If they without checking this, that's fine. I'm okay with that. 17 days. So it's mutual agreement. Everybody, maybe just at the most wasting 17 days. But if you check mark, that means remaining. Oh, that's a keyword. Scary keyword. Remain. Remain what? Contingency. Yeah. Or this. This is same thing. Close of a replacement property. The agreement is contingency on seller ability to close escrow on replacement property according to that contract. Same thing. If I mark here, that's even more straightforward. If I cannot close it, I'm not going to sell it. If you see this check mark, I would suggest you would not. You gotta have to explain to your buyer. The last minute, seller can still cancel you. Right here. Because the agreement is contingency on seller's ability close of escrow. They gotta have an ability to close. If they don't have ability to close, let me need a copy. Yeah. Do you everybody still have an extra copy? Yes. No. Okay. I print out 12 copy though.
How come it's like 12 people? I
Still short.
Somebody grab 4 pages? No?
Okay.
Okay, 你去 copy 一下。OK， yeah， 2张而已。今天我再贴，我今天只增加2张。COP 的话是上礼拜给了，就只有1份就好了。哦，再 copy 1份，就两份呀。Yeah. So that's why you don't want to see any check mark. You know, if it keep it clean, then I would say more safe. 17 day. If they usually as a listing agent, they will showing like 17 day market right here because they want to protecting the seller. And they may say here, they say, okay, say like 30 days. I mean, first of all, seller may delay the escrow. And if they found out anything, you know, they cannot closing, they will actually cancel right before you're recording the property on buyer's purchase. Yeah. Because they reserve the right. Yeah. So if you don't see any check mark, great on this form. If you start seeing more check mark, be careful. Because you gotta have to explain to the buyer. Probably not. I did it before. I probably not. I don't want to scare buyer, you know, because I did selling those replacement property. I leave it blank. And even, you know, we have the issue is the first buyer they cancel me. Oh, okay, fine. So we're accepting the second buyer at the backup offer, a little bit less money, and seller say, oh, we are in this situation, we gotta have to move. Okay, then they accept a little bit less money, and we're still closing. The only thing, you know, what we asking the buyer, what they did is like using our loan agent, what the seller financing their purchase. So the same loan agent, they can monitoring everything. So make sure they can get financing. Okay, because they're you know with the small amount of down payment and for the financing you gotta have to be careful. But why I did not market? I want to close the escrow. Am I? I'm a listing agent. Am I gonna wasting more time with the seller? Am I bad? I'm bad. Okay. Even a listing agent, I want to make some money. If I market this, first of all, you may scare buyer away, and seller reserve the right. What end up with you, listing agent? You do nothing you do everything for free. You cannot close it. You just open the door for seller to cancel the buyer. That's not the smart move for listing agent, unless seller requests for. If the seller asks me, what's this clause for? I say, oh, okay, you can still cancel the, you know, buyer until you are able to close. Oh, that sounds great to seller, yeah. But what I'm telling seller is, say, you know what? Buyer might walk away if we counter that or if we submit that. Because usually when we counter, we submit this. Usually the offer coming in, right? Then we counter attached with this. Are you sure you want to do it? You may scare the buyer away. If we cannot close it, we have 17 days. Why don't we just cancel? We don't want to, because you know is your loan going to be go through or not. 17 days. Everybody have to take the risk. This is no brainer, no risk for the seller. But how much risk for the buyer? All. Buyer have to take all the risk. Everybody want to close it, but we cannot guarantee. Anything could happen. So at this situation, you know, if the seller wants it, okay, I will put it in. Otherwise, certainly I will tell them a consequence. I'm the listing agent, I may not put it in. Those check mark and the day of the extension of escrow. Maybe I will put 7. I will not put 30. Too long. 7, that's, you know, okay. Acceptable. Or sometimes I don't even leave it right here. You know what I do the counter? COE plus 7 or COE plus 5. So that means I covered the seller, they can stay
They're moving for free. Because if you put
30-day, then may cost, if they really stay longer, then we're going to have to submit the
SIP, seller in possession.
But if I put a counter offer, COE plus 5, COE plus 7, buyers agree, that means seller can stay there for 5 more days after close of escrow or 7 days. So they can move in, close of escrow. They got plenty of time.
Sure. Because it's a maximum, the escrow.
Up to 30 days, maximum up to 30 days. Well, they can put whatever day. If you put 60 days, I'm telling you,
Buyers,
my loan rate is expired, right?
you know the mortgage rate do have a date with the time.
My mortgage rate expired. Who's going to be paid for the fee to extend my mortgage rate? If the later on it's going to be higher, most likely, this year our mortgage rate is going to be higher.
Then if I lock in another rate, boy, my payment is all different.
It might screw up the whole thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Leave it blank.
That's fine. That means close concurrently.
So that's why, I did it before.
What they're telling you, a same
Scenario.
I keep it clean like this. And I put the COE plus 7
on the counter offer. And I ask seller, say, well, is that
okay? So it's fine. Yeah. Seller want to move from La Puente to Victorville. Good thing Victorville, they can wait, right?
Yeah. It's not that competitive area. So they have a longer escrow than we have here because we got one cancel to begin with. So their escrow become 45 days or a little bit over. Yeah. So I don't want to go all the way to Victorville, show them a property. Certainly they find the other agent over there,
a buyer's agent. Yeah. So I just strictly as a listing agent, for their house for sale. That's it. And our buyer have another agent. So work together perfectly. Everybody happy. Yeah. Clear on this one? Okay.
Good. Then we going through the request for repair, RR.
This is when we, after the inspection, if we want to ask a seller to do the repair, that's the formal form to do the.
This is one is more like addendum. Some of an agent, they will put, this
to the addendum. I don't know why.
Probably they didn't know we have this form because addendum, you can do it. Yes, you could, but you can list it, all the repair, but you don't have a place to sign on the bottom. I mean, you do have buyer and seller signing and that's it, but you don't have other clause like this. So the proper way still doing it is here because they also talk about the termite, everything, and also here is the seller responding. If the regular addendum doesn't have this part, I see on the one of a buyer's agent send me the addendum and say, huh? I tell them, I say, can you use a request for repair? But what's that form is? They don't know. And some of the buyers say, they don't know. I say, they just, yeah, well, I don't know. It's just like, they thought everything they can put an addendum. Yeah, you could. It makes sense. You put addendum, then that means if I have to responding back to with addendum again, I cannot responding this with the seller response. Addendum doesn't have a seller response. So I tell the buyer's agent, please redo it. I do it very politely. Please redo it, your request for repair. And that's a form call. Please don't use addendum. That's why, you know, it's all different standard out there. All right. So on the top portion, address, buyer, seller, pretty straightforward. And B, buyer requests the seller prior to final verification of a condition repair and take the other specified action for each item listed below. That's what I listed, you know, on particular this property, whatever we want to have the seller to install or repair. Those are, you know, I listed. And B, yes. Oh, don't worry. Automatically, yes. You continue. Believe me, you when you are here, you click return. Boom. In number A. Wait a minute. Where's that number A coming from? Okay. After you retype everything, you know what will happen? They will become overflow addendum on the bottom. So you have this form, and they will put it, you know, right here. They will see to the attached listing. And they were showing to a large overflow addendum, you know, on this part, and you know it's like another addendum. And the other really is like overflow addendum. That's like just a regular addendum, plenty of a room. Okay, I certainly listed before, like, you know, 15 items or so. Then definitely you need it though. Before we don't have it, I have to using another form of a request for repair and continue. Number A, number 9, number da 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 da. Then it's become a 2 request for repair. Number 1, so, yeah, 2 signature. Yeah, same thing. If you got an overflow addendum, it's also required 2 signature because you got this and also addendum signature. But at least you have this one. Don't just send it addendum. That's a they will automatically generate. You don't see it in our form, but they will automatically generate. It's called an overflow addendum. B, important. Section 1. Buyer requests the seller pay to have a Section 1 work completely as specified in the attachment. Pest control reported. Well, if we didn't have a due date, then you put up, say, prepared by seller's choice. If the seller hasn't given it to you before you submit this form. Why you have to check on Section 1? Because on a purchase agreement, if you ask a seller to do the repair and completion of Section 1, and you forgot to check here, oh, here's the argument. It's a RR supersede the purchase agreement. Legally, yes. Oh yeah. You tell the seller pay for it, seller accepted, and you forget to mark here. Seller say, yeah, so I don't have to do the termite. So you gotta have to be careful. You gotta have to remember mark Section 1. If some people, you know, they probably wait until here to do it, but I'd rather do it in the purchase agreement. So kind of notify the seller, you need to pay for the termite. Don't wait until the request for repair, and then suddenly the seller see the big bill. Wow, I gotta pay this margin plus termite. You rather separate the heavy load, the burden. Sometimes it may be credit, sometimes, you know, maybe the repair. So remember to mark here, Section 1 area. But Section 2, do we all know what's a Section 2 mean? Section 2 meaning possible evidence. Visually, you did not see it, but for example, I see the water stain in the kitchen cap, the kitchen close the wall or behind the kitchen. What's telling me? It could be possibly has a termite inside the wall. And maybe plus what else? Mold. Water leak. You could have the seller open the wall and see if you got a termite inside. If you do have a termite, suddenly becomes Section 1. If it doesn't have a termite, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you need to seal the wall. You need to pay for seal the wall because you request the seller to open it. Yeah, that's fair. But usually we don't mark it Section 2 because none of us, so far, I did not see any seller to want to pay for Section 2 because Section 2 can be anything. Termite related, anything could be from ants farm, bees high. Yeah, I don't want to open again because Section 2 is more
everything, you know, about this house more than the termite, just the pest control area. No, the house foundation, if you see it has a termite, it's possible, especially raised foundation. That's when the inspector, the termite inspector, they will have to go down. If they are too big of size, they cannot crawl down to the the basement area, you know, for the raised foundation area. They can at least take a photo and see is anything possible. Yeah, they can still see it, and that is still considered section 1 if it really has the, because of wood. But usually the termite inspector, they will not inspecting like fence. No, at the most they will inspect it enclosed patio, not enclosed, patio, regular any patio, and plus a detached garage. And that's about it. Some of the fence may have a termite too, if the wooden fence, but they will. It's not their scope for the inspection, because mainly what we look at as a house. Yeah. Because if you start telling the seller they're replacing the fence, oh boy. No. Some of the seller, they don't even want to do it, for the attached patio. I seen that. They specify we will do the main house, but excluding the patio. Yeah. Or detached garage. Okay. So those are you gotta make sure you mention that. If it's you see the detached garage and what the area, not just the main house, on the you may specify, through on the purchase agreement on who pay for what, the completion. So you say termite completion, termite treatment and repair completion, section 1 parenthesis with 1-year warranty, then including say detached garage. Then make sure they have to inspect the detached garage, because usually anything attached with the main house they will inspect it. But some sneaky seller, they say, "How you didn't ask for? As a detached, it's not considered the main house because patio, or sometimes you have a detached gazebo. Do they have a termite? Possibly, because wooden gazebo. So you better put it in if you do concern, okay? Put it into the purchase agreement." 那个凉亭有没有六角形的凉亭那种？ Number 3, if the buyer requests either section 1 or section 2 work above, seller shall no later than 5 days prior to close of escrow deliver to the buyer a written pest control certification showing the correct work has been completed. So before 5 days, you need to complete it, because who want to see it? Sometimes lender. So do the buyer. Why? Because they want to make sure you complete it. So they'll close escrow. Just like some people, they look at it and say, technically, when we do the final walkthrough, if some of a repair did not complete it, some of the buyer just doesn't want to wire the money. Technically, you cannot stop closing. But indirectly, if they do not wire the money, cannot close the escrow. Yeah. C, buyer requests a seller credit buyer, how much? You list all the repair, but you don't want them to repair it since you want to do the remodeling. Then you want to, have the seller give it a credit. Okay, you figure out how much and see if the seller will give it to you. See if they're reasonable. Don't give any BS number and say $10,000. Those items is not going to worth $10,000. Okay? You have to give it. If you don't know how to estimate, find somebody to do the estimate. Some of a contractor, they can estimate it through your inspection report and your request for repair. They can give you the ballpark figure for the estimating. Then you negotiating with the seller. If the seller is not agree, okay, then how much? Then see if it's reasonable or it's doable. Or sometimes the buyer may have to chip in a little bit, for some of the repair. Could be.
At the close of escrow, those are the credit. And the credit need to be disclosed to buyer's lender. Total contractual credit may be limited to pursuing to the agreement. Total credit amount may not be enough to remedy all defect or repairs. Technically, you need to disclose to lender. But in reality, we did not disclose to lender. What do we usually do? We issued an addendum. Seller credit, say $2,000 to buyer, tour on $2,000 tour on buyer's closing cost. That's it. So sounds like seller helping the buyer closing. We never talk about the repair. I mean, you can still using this form, but don't turn into the escrow. Once you turn into escrow, escrow will turn into lender. Lender look at and say, okay, send me the inspection report. Dang it. You just open a can of worms. If the condition is not so good, seller said, I don't want to fund this loan. They think it's the house need a lot of repair. Yeah. Just like, when you have a termite inspection report, I know when you put on a contract and the lender want to see it, then you better have a seller complete it. Sometimes the lender will not allow the seller to credit you because if the termite damage so big, and definitely the lender require the seller to complete it. If like $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 damage, believe me, lender will require the seller to complete it before they fund the loan. Sometimes seller need to complete it before they draft the loan doc. Before the loan doc, you got to complete it. Otherwise, I will not issue the loan doc. Then how can the buyer finance? Right? Some of the lenders do that. They want to see the completion, termite completion before they issue the loan doc. Yeah. Doesn't matter big or small. They just want you to complete it. Ain't got no credit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sign a form for the waiver? No, the waiver is only for the termite inspection. They do have an inspection, give it to you. Otherwise, how do you know 3,000 or 5,000? Because the completion is up to the seller. It's not buyer. The waiver only signed by the buyer. Credit. Okay. Uh-huh.
Because the lender said, okay, if you credit, just give the waiver.
That's a lender's requirement waiver. It's different than our waiver, inspection waiver. That's different waiver. Lender required a waiver. That means the lender know the buyer waived that. So those are usually happen to the escrow amendment. The waiver, what we have on the zip form is an inspection waiver. It's different. Yeah. So the waiver you're talking about, that's on lender's requirement. Lender can require anything, and the escrow have to be issued the amendment. No. Right? In the regular standard one, yeah, no. It just the waiver. What we have on this the zip form is inspection waiver. So if you don't want to do the general inspection or you don't want to do the termite inspection, then buyer have to sign a waiver. I do encourage you to do it. You don't do it, sign a waiver. So protecting who? Me, buyer's agent. I don't want to get a lawsuit. That's the inspection waiver for. Not protecting other people. Me, buyer's agent. Final walkthrough on what? Oh, the final walkthrough, you have a little check mark, right? Buyer waived the right to do the final walkthrough on the whole page of the final walkthrough on the bottom.
So if seller just credit buyer for the repair, do you
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Why? I know even they say credit without any repair. Do you want to see the house again? See any damage, new damage? I cannot guarantee you. Maybe homeless people get into a vacant house. Oh no! I saw that before. Or when they do the final walkthrough, what happened to the stove? It's gone. Oh, you can steal it. Somebody. Ooh, oh, yeah. Somebody stole the stove. That's because that's a bank-owned property. So you still need to go on the inspection. I mean the final walkthrough. Even I know sometimes the buyer waive it. You go. You go yourself as a buyer's agent. Then you still mark the right. Buyers did not really go through, but at least you tell buyer. Because if you found out something later, buyer did not blame you. Because you did not force me to go. I'm so vulnerable. I did go. Yeah. So that's an issue. It's like, okay, you go on the last thing because it happened what I saw before. Stove is gone. Then suddenly you call this thing. What happened? Wow. And because the recently they just got so many his listing, all the stove is gone. You know who stole the stove? His contractor. That's what we found out later because he has a master key. Because all the stove are brand new. When he steal about 20 some stove, sell it. How much he can make? Yeah, easy. Few $1,000s. Each stove costs probably $500, $400-500, and he steal about 20. All the bank-owned property. Mm-hmm. So that's then and who end up pay for it? Not listing agent, bank. Bank gotta have to pay it again, for all the stoves. Yeah. But if you don't go, if it's already closed escrow, bye bye. Good luck. Who paid for it? Buyer's agent. Buyer's agent, you pay because when you close an escrow, how do I know somebody took it, right? No evidence. So you gotta have to go the final walkthrough before closing escrow. So anything happen or any damage, or you find out, who are you? Oh, I'm just staying here for a couple of nights. Come on, you gotta have to evict them. You gotta call listing agent. You have to get somebody evict the homeless people. All right? Yeah. Yes. But you try to minimize the situation. If like for after the final walkthrough and you only close the escrow and the buyer did not take the possession for months, is it you still responsible for it? No. Buyers, I already give you the key, right? Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I already give you the keys. You did not take the possession and end up the homeless people get in after a few months later. Not my fault, your fault. But during the escrow, whose fault is that? Buyer's agent. That's why. Be careful, do everything until close of escrow. Whew. If you do everything right, then you can relieve. Yeah. Unless you do something, stupid, then then the 2-3 years later, you better don't think, and nothing really happened. Okay. It's just like you grab a dynamite with you. It may explode anytime. Yeah.
Do we need to turn into the escrow this form request?
If you do, it may just kill the deal. Maybe. Maybe.
So don't give the escrow.
Escrow doesn't need it. Even the credit, I was changing the addendum between seller and buyer. Tour on closing cost. Because lender doesn't like to see the repair credit. Just, I don't know. They know when we saying tour on closing cost, most likely it's a repair credit, but they just don't want to take that responsibility. When they see that, they say they have to go through the consequence. When they did not see it, they will let it go. It's only between you, a buyer and seller. They don't want to get involved, lender. Okay.
But if the credit is so large, then you better reduce the price instead of a credit. Sometimes the foundation issue, it could be $10,000, $20,000. You don't want to give the credit because
Lender will know how much the seller will credit to the buyer. 10,000? How much you gonna need to closing? Come on,
no brainer.
20,000? Forget it. You rather reduce the price. So sometimes we can using all kinds of scenario. Could be appraisal or anything, and they don't care. So we say, if we adjust the price, we'll just put on an addendum. They say purchase price revised to or adjusted to whatever the price. That's it. Don't say anything more. You don't have to say reduce. No, adjusted. Yeah. Then the part of a seller response, okay? You don't really have to go through RRRR. If you go through this, if they see, for example, seller agreed to all of a buyer's requests providing in writing. 1, buyer removed the physical inspection contingency. 2, buyer removed the contingency identified on the attached contingency removal form, CR, which must be signed by the buyer. And 3, buyer released the seller from any loss, liability, expense claim, clause action regarding the disclosed condition of the property. So by seller signing that and you check mark on the buyers remove those contingency, that means buyer need to sign a contingency. All contingent, attached contingency form. The one is actually buyer accepted and buyer removed the physical inspection contingency. So without that. But if you mark over there, that means buyer, you need to sign, physically sign that contingency or that DocuSign, whatever, you need to turn in to the listing agent with the CR. Okay? So that's the difference. One without the CR form, one with the CR form. But it's no big deal. It's because you still need to remove all contingency later on anyway. So this one, is it turn it in? To me, no big deal. Yeah, it's no big deal. And next one, seller does not agree to any of a buyer's request. That means seller reject all. I'm not going to do any repair. And so do the credit. I reject everything all. Well, buyer, they may, that's a two side. Either they continue or cancel. That's it. Okay? Or before seller responding that, listing agent better talk to the buyer's agent and say, well, if we did not repair anything, is your buyer comfortable with that? I would talk first. You don't want to market and throw it in the form. Because when I talk to the buyer's agent, I'm more like respecting the buyers. If the seller doesn't want to do any repair, do you still want to buy? Indirectly, I'm asking that. Right? Okay, I think it's no big deal. Those are small items. We can take care of ourselves. We will continue. Okay, then seller say, because assess condition, no repair when we do the counter offer. Sometimes, if you did that. Or a seller, or if you leave it right here, and say seller doesn't want to do any repair since like those are small items. And I think, you can take care of it. Or sometimes you tell the buyer's agent, how about those small items? We split. If the buyer doesn't want to, if buyer want to cancel, and those are probably a few $100 less than $1,000 repair item, why don't we just split it and continue? Right? You don't against those a few $100, $1,000 repair and cancel the escrow. That's stupid. Just move on. Next case. I would do that. But unless the buyer's agent is so stubborn, no, I don't want to split with you. Huh? Or buyer's agent asking a listing agent, say, how about that? We split different. The listing agent, no, I don't want it. Well, that's what they're telling you. Seller may have another backup offer stronger than yours. They're purposely waiting for you to cancel. You gotta have to understand the sign. If that's a situation, you better persuade your buyer.
Take it. Okay? Worst come worst, if you have to pay the $1,000 repair on the buyer's agent, I will do it. Because I know if I don't get this deal is gone.
And I have to continue showing the a buyer finding another property. The longer you helping the buyer and did not getting the property, what end up happen? Buyer will fire the buyer's agent, isn't it? How many buyers fire the buyer's agent?
We all have the experience.
We are the second or maybe the third buyer. You want to be the hero? Find them a property. Try not to save them the money. Okay? Find them a property and open escrow. Close it. You are the hero. If you did not, close a transaction or did not, even open escrow or even get the deal, you are nothing. You are nothing. Got it? I never try to save the money in front of my buyer. I will tell them what's the market price, and you pay the consequences. If you did not follow my instruction to pay whatever I'm asking for, then your chance getting this deal is less. And don't blame me. I did warn you. I give you the suggestion for the price, and you're not happy with it. Okay, let's see. Didn't say you are right or I'm right. It just my job is helping you to get the property with a reasonable price. It doesn't matter how much they're asking for. Sometimes it's higher, sit on the market for a long time, I will ask for the discount. But sometimes they're purposely, asking low. Then you got to know how to adding the price. Some of our buyers say, I already paid the asking price. How come I did not get it? They come on, that asking price is not even the market price. Now you won't get it. No brainer. Market will actually fluctuate. And somebody want to pay for it, seller will glad to sell. Somebody will offer even higher price, isn't it? You tell the buyer, think about what the seller choose, what's the seller strategy now. Yeah. Some of the listing that purposely market lower. And you gotta have to understand. Going up. And here, the last one. Seller responds to the buyer request on the attached form. RR. So that means I'm going to respond to you RR. Why? Because this situation is either I accepting all or I rejecting all. Can you do half-half? Sure. What do you mean half-half? I repair some, I decline some. Or I repair some, decline some, and plus I give you some credit. Yeah. Right? Some of them, I don't want to do it, I'll give you the credit. I will still repair something, reject something, and I'll give you still some credit. Hardly you some even want to reduce the price a little. That's too many items. But you can all put on the RRRR as a seller responding for request for repair. So if the seller agreed to sign it, you mark it here. And if the seller rejected, you mark it here. Or if you really want it, responding with a request for repair, you mark it right here. Then seller sign it. Okay. Then if the whatever the response is, buyer sign it. That means if the seller agreed to all buyers' request, okay, that's an all buyers' request. This is only when it's this. Okay. Buyer hereby remove the physical inspection contingency and those identified on the attached CR form signed by the buyer and agree to the above release. So if I mark it right here, then buyer sign it as an acknowledgement. Should be as a buyer's name. I don't know why it gone. Okay, like this. Buyer sign it. Then you also attach a CR, inspection CR form, just the inspection to the seller. Yeah. Repair all. Seller want to credit some, but buyer still insists to repair all. Because since I'm the dual agent, so I didn't really issue the request for repair. I just explain to both parties, then end up both parties agree. And seller say instead of repair something, I'll find you the handyman or contractor to do the repair. Because one of the items, what we have an argument is this.
Repair the bottom loose handrail. Blaster. What's that? Okay. Rail, handrail, okay? The one on the post. That's what we call the blaster. And the shaking. And it's hard to repair. If we want to repair, sometimes we may have to lift up the wood floor. It will damage. So likely we are going from the side, because on the side it's more, on the small piece of a wood. We replace it, and you remove whole blaster and secure again on the bottom, because sometimes it's a post. You have to drill to the concrete because it's a concrete slab. It's the first floor. Drilled in and secure and put together. So make sure it's not shaking anymore. Then you cover it up. If on the side, if it's stucco, easy. So that's why, I learned a lot from contractor, inspector, and I be able to explain to the buyer and the seller how and what situation may happen to do the repair. So, and the both sides feel comfortable. Otherwise, you say, seller says, oh, I don't want to, that's too much trouble. When I bought it, it's like this. Well, you're shaking for so many years. I never failed up. But the buyer is, 70 years old, and I am afraid if I keep on shaking, and I might fall, when I live there. And you're the dual agent. You got to have to understand, calm down. That's the more knowledge you learn, actually, you can calm both parties down and say, it can be resolved within maybe how much. And if I didn't know how much, you bring the contractor and take a look what's going on, and they can give you the estimate. Then end up the seller say, okay, fine. I want to give it a credit. Well, since you want to give it a credit, then why don't you just, make everybody happy? Just, finish up. $100 more, and he actually want to give some of the item, one like the situation. You want to do this, the gas line through the inside furnace, and this blaster, and also the AC filter, they replace it, and also a GFCI outlet, 3, 5, and 6. They want to credit 500. But on the estimating, on the from the contractor, we found out it maybe cost about 600. Yeah. And if the seller insists 500, who's going to pay 100? I still did not pay though, and the buyer pay. Yeah, buyer, give me the red envelope to cover that difference. And more, not just $100. Yeah, not only I'm the dual agent, get a 6% and get a red envelope from the buyer. Thanks. Yeah, to cover, not just $100, certainly more than that. Yeah. Okay, all right, then we'll stop here. Well, the Thursday, we'll do it on the request, seller responding request for repair. Okay, thank you for coming.